You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Hey everybody, we're almost there. Welcome to episode 98 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Corey.
All right, welcome back. It is, 51 days or so until The Last Jedi drops? It's... oh, man. It is coming fast and furious now. And we have lots of distractions to keep us busy.
Yeah, when you said that, I almost feel like I got red in the face.
Red in the face?
But yeah, I don't know. I just felt this, like
a rush?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
It's been a bit of a sad week over here, but regardless, all week I've been itching to get back in the co-pilot seat with you. And now that we're here, I am just so tired, and I know you were just telling me the exact same thing, but let's do this, man.
Yeah, let's get this on, man. We got a bunch of things to talk about. Not much in the news, but we are loaded in the back end with questions from powerful friends. So let's get a move on with this. First, before we get to any of that, I just want to welcome James to the Patreon program, becoming one of the powerful friends. Thank you very much, sir.
James O.
Could not have Powerful Friend program without James, so we're super happy to have him around. And another note, everybody out there listening, let the record show that from a certain point of view is now in Corey's hands. So his next destination is with Chop Rules with a Z.
Yeah, you got that. I'm currently in the middle of writing chapter number 41. And no, I plan on getting it done in 2 weeks. That's my goal. So every night I'm not podcasting, I'll be reading.
Oh, you're setting a bar for yourself.
That's fine. I did it last year, and I work best under pressure like that.
Why don't you, while you're at it, why don't you shoot up Route 201 there and go grab James' autograph as well?
Oh, I think James and I are actually meeting for lunch this week.
Oh, well, there you go.
You should come.
I have half hour for lunch. I'm out, man. I can never do a lunch.
Yeah, 30 minutes is good too. Just get the day over with. I hear what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, it's just enough for me to sneak out to my truck and just grab a quick 10-15 minute nap. I've come to rely on them.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Well, we've been talking about that a lot in our office as well. But anyway, before we get into news, quick collecting update. I finally kind of pulled the trigger first time. It's actually really awesome and fun. This you said I would get in trouble on this site. I don't really consider this too much trouble because I haven't done anything yet. I've been a part of it for about 2 months, but there's a Canada Black Series forum.
Yet is the operative word.
Yeah. And there's just all kinds of stuff going on in there. Trades and people just, buying stuff for one another and people selling their stuff. So one guy, he posted a pic of a whole bunch of 6-inch series figures that he had, and one of them was a Qui-Gon. There was also a younger Obi-Wan. There was Phasma, because I never managed to get my hands on Phasma. Everyone that I saw in the stores, they were so beaten up. By the time I wanted to get my hands on them, I just said I'll hold off. Really, really good price. Anyhow, it's not like a totally fair deal. $15 for shipping, and I also picked up one more for a certain person that I think I'm going to be going to see the Last Jedi with. Last name rhymes with Bandito.
Gee, I wonder.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I couldn't pass that up.
Cool. Very cool. I have no collecting update, but I did. Did you see those Black Series images from, I think it's from New York Comic Con? Black Series 6-inch of Lando in his skiff guard outfit, the DJ 6-inch. Dengar and 4-LOM. Oh, yeah. They look awesome.
They really do. But, yeah, God, everything that's coming out now, it's like, oh my God, the list just keeps growing and just gotta keep up.
Is Dengar actually an idiot? Because they make him out to be one. In Aftermath, he's a bit of a dope. And in the Lego series, he is an absolute moron.
He does wear a diaper on his head, so...
Is that the Galactic dunce cap?
I don't know what's going on there, but geez, I mean, if he's wearing bandages all the time, it's like he obviously can't afford any Bacta, so he can't be that great of a bounty hunter.
He's just totally accident prone.
Well, back in
you know what he is?
Day,
he's the clone template for the guy who keeps banging his head on the door.
What's interesting? Back in the day, you and I remember one Christmas leading up to the Phantom Menace. Like I was still in high school, like probably grade 10, and I got this encyclopedia. You got like a vehicle guide, and I got like an encyclopedia for characters, and it provided backstories on everyone. Even Yoda a little. It was everything was really vague. But what was it?
Oh, lost it.
No, that's it. Dengar. Him and Han Solo. The backstory behind Dengar was that him and Han Solo were training at the Imperial Academy together, and they were in a race at one point on these like, I don't know, like picture like a chariot kind of with like the engine underneath, like an Avengers type vehicle kind of, where you're standing there, and Han kind of lands on his head. Yeah, and that was the forever. From there on in, like he had it in for Han.
He was massive head wound Harry. So he just like slapped a diaper on top. Later.
Yeah, it's just not healing. I don't understand. He's cursed.
That's a ridiculous story. No wonder they wiped out Legends.
Yep.
Oh man. All right. So last week we had a huge busy week at Tumbling Saber. I did the math. We cranked out over 6 hours of podcasts, including our Gord Downey tribute. 6 hours, man.
That's a lot.
Holy moly.
I mean,
sorry about that, everybody.
I wasn't doing it the whole time.
We really monopolized people last week.
Yeah, well, I mean, good on you, bro. I'm proud of you, man. I mean, you started this Patreon program and you're providing content. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, even though you're totally burnt out right now.
I'm flaming out bad. Oh, well, what are you going to do?
It was good, though. Like, I listened to pretty much every show, and hey, man, they're all very, very good. Tim and Troy did an awesome job.
Man.
You and M did an awesome job.
Oh, Tim and Troy, you guys knocked it out of the park. I got a bunch of compliments.
Boys.
Oh, man. That worthy of recognition alone is worth being a powerful friend, I think. So thank you guys for being a part of that. Right. I also have to give my thanks to Robcast and to Tim and Carlos for their input on the Gord Downey tribute that Corey, James, and I had put together. They helped round that out and really paint the picture of the national icon that we lost. Just help make it a bit easier. So thank you guys for that, and also thanks to M for cranking out a couple of really awesome blog posts and one super in-depth one on Saw Gerrera and Mon Mothma. Good job, M, and we'll look forward to talking to M this week on Bridger Transmissions.
Yeah, Rebels tomorrow.
Rebels are back tomorrow, or I guess as this podcast drops right now. And one more quick thing. So with episode 100 on the horizon, we wanted to just run a quick little contest. Not a contest. Just a little drive to see if we can get a few more powerful friends in the program before episode 100. So what we're going to do, Corey, this is news to you too. So surprise.
Fill me in.
Does it
going to cost me anything?
Hopefully not. And well, you know what? You can't control yourself, so you may end up doing something. Who knows? What we're going to do for people who are on the fence, who are thinking about becoming a powerful friend, we're going to do a draw only for people who sign up to become a powerful friend between now and the drop of episode 100. So we'll give whatever. If it's one person, congratulations, you won the draw. If it's 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll be a very short. I guess your chances of winning, what I'm trying to say, will be very good, and the winner will get a prize pack. And I don't know I know some of the contents of that prize pack yet, but I'll speak to Corey in finer details. So if you're listening now, you're not yet a powerful friend, now is the time you want to do that. because, like I said, you'll be in the draw with probably a handful of other people for a pretty cool prize pack that we're going to put together. And yeah, so that should be kind of fun. So between now, whenever you're listening to this, and Sunday, November 5th, that's when you want to become a powerful friend.
Remember the 5th of November.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the news once and for all here. Really one big thing last week. There was a bunch of little stuff that we may or may not touch on depending on time, but Han Solo movie finally wraps officially and finally gets a title, Corey.
I love it.
Do you?
They're playing with what, the fact that they're wrapped?
I know you love that. I mean, that's kind of about time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we finally got confirmation that that's done, and they got some serious work ahead of them, but they seem confident enough that they're going to pull this off. Tim and Troy brought up an interesting point with the release dates coinciding with Infinity War, which is kind of interesting, seeing as how it's kind of the same studio.
Well, same parent company.
Yes. So, anyhow, that's kind of interesting. They might cannibalize each other a bit.
It might. Well, Infinity War comes out first, right?
Yeah.
Like early first week of May, and then Han Solo?
Yeah, well, I definitely foresee lower numbers in Solo anyhow for this film.
Yeah.
For this standalone, it's probably, I don't know, like Sanjay was kind of touching on the fact that, most families will most likely go see Infinity War if you're going to go as a family, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, but when, right? If are you going to go in those first 3 weeks? Probably, I would think. I think any movie makes the bulk of its box office gross in those I'd say in the first 2 weeks. It makes well over half of its actual total.
That makes sense. We'll
but
see. Anyhow,
a movie like this,
I find it interesting.
A movie like this has massive legs. So I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my rear end again, but I tend to think movies just come out with a bang right out of the gates, and in the first 2 to 3 weeks, you kind of know already what you're looking at as far as the box office gross. But yeah, no doubt. I'm sure that the Han Solo movie will gross less than probably even Rogue One.
I'm thinking the same thing, sadly, because I think this movie's going to be extraordinary. In regards to the name of the film, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'll touch more upon it later, but I think we all had kind of a strong feeling that could have been it. So we're not really surprised. No one's surprised. There were T-shirts on set that said it. No one just confirmed it. And a lot of people were upset about that. Like, why didn't you just confirm it in the past? Well, I don't really care about that. Like, to be honest, like I like the fact that they kept it to themselves. Don't give us stuff too early. They have a planned release date. They have a code of conduct, some protocols to follow. And just because people are like, man, like tell us, man, like it's not what I expected, or it's so obvious now. Like that sucks. Like they have no obligation to tell us anything.
No, they don't. Like we are not owed anything.
Well, in that regard, anyhow, like I said, it's probably part of a timetable and a schedule that they're following, and that's that.
Absolutely, it's part of all this stuff is planned out, I would think. And you don't like it, log off. Go stick your head in the sand for a couple months. You'll get it when you get it. Anyway, Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Corey, you said it. It was rumored. A lot of people had kind of touched on this, and hey, look, it's a bit bland of a title, right?
Pending. I mean, we haven't seen the film yet, right? This could be really interesting the way that they take it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I wrote a quick little blog post about this to help kind of crystallize my thoughts about the title. But I think it hints at Han's eventual lot in life as sort of an estranged loner, a lone wolf. And if that's Solo, a Star Wars story, if that's going to be what happens with Han by the end of the movie, I can easily see that. I think he's going to break apart from Lando, and I think his mentor is probably going to betray him. So yeah, I think Han Solo will probably be a lone wolf by the end of the movie, and so I think the title works both on it's his name and it's his sort of lot in life.
Yeah, like him and Chewie, the Lone Rangers. Remember that, Airheads? Come on.
Sorry.
Anyhow, I'm on the exact same page as you there. I see it maybe a bit differently, like in the sense that, I don't know if you remember this, but Kathleen Kennedy, she had mentioned, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that we're going to find out how Han got his name.
I think
And
it was Bob
everyone
Iger
went,
that said that.
yeah, so even at the studio head saying something like that, it's like fan reaction, people went berserk. And, after that, it's just been hush hush. So now we see it in this regard, like, I can kind of look at it maybe in the sense that maybe he's different than the Han we know from a certain light. Like, he's obviously, you can't change the fact that he's brash, bold, and cocky. Like, he has to be that. But maybe in the same light, he's happy-go-lucky, trusting. And he puts his heart out there a lot, but he just gets burned so many times in this film that by the end, he's just jaded. And he's like, I'm solo, man. It's me and Chewie, and I'm out for myself now. That's it.
Well, yeah, I totally think that's going to be part of the movie for Han, for sure. But I wonder if they sort of bury that in the prologue part of the movie. You know what I mean? The part where we're supposed to see Han as an 18-year-old. You might get that more upbeat, more optimistic, naive Han Solo, and just something terrible happens to him in that prologue, and fast forward 6 years, and he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's kind of hard for me. Like you said, that makes a lot of sense, because you'd think at the end of this movie, with him getting the Falcon and whatnot, that he's kind of coming out on top. But maybe in the long run, there is no winner in this film. Like maybe by the end of it, he's just like, okay, like Jabba's hunting me. I'm screwed. Like I've made 1,000 enemies across the entire galaxy, and all for naught. Like I'm just back to square one. It's me and you, Chewie.
Yeah, you feel like he's going to make a bunch of enemies. Not necessarily because he's a bad guy, but just because he makes bad choices. I got to get out of here. I'm going to steal this speeder. Oh no, that's Boba Fett's speeder. Damn it.
It can kind of lend a lot more strength to the trench run scene as well, where Luke's like, take care of yourself. I guess that's what you're good at, or something like that, And he takes off, but he comes back. So maybe something in this film happens like that, where he's either not, or he fails, or he's just a second too short, or he doesn't have the courage to go through with it. So this could be like a redemption for him.
Well, yeah,
almost,
yeah. I would expect that the Han Solo movie would punch up that scene in A New Hope, where Han does come back. Oh my God! Like he never goes back. He's always running off to save his own skin.
But I definitely see it being, like you said, like by the end of this film, he's just going to be like, I'm just better off on my own.
Yeah, absolutely.
A changed man, jaded. Like I said, maybe we're going to meet a whole new Han, possibly. What do you think of this? Do you think it's possible that, like Kathleen said, we're going to find out how he got his name? Okay, that could be his reputation. That's the way people start to interpret it after the fact. But what if his name is like Han Doe or Han Smith? You know what I mean? And then finally, by the end of this film, like he's just like, I am Han Solo, or something like that. Like he becomes Solo because it's like a nickname, or
well, I thought that was odd when they mentioned that, and my mind went to TFA when Rey asks him, "You're Han Solo," and he says, "I used to be." I thought that was, at first it was like a kind of a throwaway line. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, why are you ducking the question? Why are you hiding from your name? Maybe his name wasn't always Han Solo.
That's a good point, actually. Very good catch.
So I don't know. I don't expect that his name's going to be something different. I think it's probably more the reputation thing.
Yeah, we don't know how Corellians work either. Maybe it's like, I am Han, son of whoever.
We don't know anything about Corellian culture. Anyway, so I think they're also looking for like a standardized naming convention for these standalone movies. So it'll be blank A Star Wars Story being the second half, and it's not like they were going to call this movie Han Solo and the Spice Mine Caper with Wookiee in tow a Star Wars story. Like it wasn't going to be some long drawn out thing. Like I think somebody had along the line had like suggested Smuggler's Run or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I said that last week.
Smuggler's Run, a Star Wars story. Yeah, that okay. That would have been at least a little bit more creative. But
Solo Run. I said Solo Run as well.
Yeah, but I think what they've chosen, it is a bit bland, but I think its meaning will make more sense come May 25th, I think.
Less than 12 parsecs and back again. A Solo story.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, there's another takeaway from this. May 25th, they are sticking with that date.
That's interesting. I mean, Sanjay, man, you you put your money where your mouth is. It's our boy over at the Nerd Room, and like, I want to see this now. Ads caught wind of it first, and then I finished the podcast afterward. And Kyle and I have discussed this many times. We're very confused about it as well, but it really does seem as if that they're plowing through with this. Who knows? They may change their minds still at this point. They need more time. They're already set with the Christmas release schedules. We know that Episodes 9 has been pushed already to December. So, but I mean, if Episode 9's already been pushed and they went through that process already, in my head, it's almost like Ron Howard is like, no, he's adamant in saying that this can be done. We're organized and it's going to happen. And this is the scheduled release date and it's going to come out this day.
No, selfishly, I wouldn't mind if they pushed it to December 2018. I'd have no problem with that. We've got a little bit of a mini tradition cooking here. I have no problem with seeing that continue. But you know what?
True. Like, it might be oversaturation too. It's going to be our first time ever having like the yearly movie is kind of working for me. Like, once we start doubling up, who knows? You know, like, Jesus, we're gonna start 2-3 more podcasts.
I don't think so. I really don't. No. I really don't think they're going to move it. And I think Ron Howard would maybe like to move it, but I don't think. I think if he asked for it, he'd be told, "No, you got to make this happen." And I think there's reasons for that. That most of us don't care about. But I think in the background, there's a very big reason.
Their ego?
Well, egos are always a part of it. But it's manufacturers. And
oh, you were saying that. That's true. I heard you this week.
I kind of spoiled that on Worthy of Recognition, but I think that's what it is. A huge part of it is manufacturers who might already be deep into production with all the merch. Like they're not going to have that stuff sit around for months and months and months. They're just not. Like, it's not even a discussion. If Disney calls them up and says, "Oh, all that merch, I'm gonna need you to hang on to it for until December or Force Friday, September of 2018. I know you're supposed to ship it to us in like April. 5 more months. We're gonna need you to sit on that." Hell no. That is millions of dollars of inventory space just sitting there. That is not happening.
No, you're probably that's a good point as well.
Also, think about fast food chains who are building marketing plans. Actually, you know what? I think they dumped fast food chains for Last Jedi tie-ins, I think. But nevertheless, like, there's other retailers or outlets that are building marketing plans for 2018 around Han Solo. So I don't think it's going to go over very well. It's not going to be good for relationship building on the business end if Lucasfilm rolls around and goes, "Yeah, anyway, all this stuff's just going to have to get bumped. Sorry, we need to push the movie." Hell no, we've committed to this. So I think that is the bigger reason here for the May 25th date. It's stuff that we don't give a rip about. Like, we just care that the best movie comes out. But I think there are other factors at play here.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy grabbed Ron Howard by the ear and said, "Now hear this, Obi-Wan. You signed a contract."
Well, anyway, you know what? It's what? Where are we here? Late October. So let's count the months. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's, to my count, that's about 7 months until the movie comes out. Almost to the day. Right?
Yeah.
That is not a lot of time, but then again, when you consider they did a bunch of reshoots, a huge chunk of reshoots for Rogue One in August of 2016, that was 4 months away from the movie coming out. They still got it all done. They still scored the movie and made it.
And that's it. To compound that fact, Michael Giacchino came on at the last minute. I think he had a month to score Rogue One or something?
Yeah, so all that happened in 4 months.
It can be done.
All that happened in 4 months, and the end result was pretty damn good. So I don't know if I'm not going to use the word panic, but there's still plenty of time to get Han Solo done.
And like we'd said in past pods as well, that they've probably been editing some stuff and piecing some stuff together on the fly, like getting a lot of post-production stuff done on the fly, or they're at least super prepared to take on their.
Well, it's just
next
getting
duties.
the first rough cut together. All right, here's the shot we need for this. Like, let's move this on to the next stage. Instead of taking all, just sitting on just rolls and rolls of footage and then taking it back to the editing room and going through it. Like, I think they were doing a lot of stuff on the fly to streamline the process later. Now, they still have a lot of time. They still have 7 months.
It seems like 7 months flies by. They can't be wasteful at that time.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Like I said, I don't
I'm
think
not
they
suggesting anybody's going to go to Bermuda for like a month. They've got a lot of work to do, but it's not time to push the panic button.
No, they got the players and the people trained to do this kind of thing. So,
unlike our Habs, who do not have the players and might want to think about the panic button, but I digress.
Yeah, don't go there.
The other cool thing we got this week, Battlefront single player campaign trailer. What did you think, Corey?
I love this trailer. Like, I don't have a PS4. I'm not going to get the game when it comes out, but I hope I do get a chance to watch like the movie thing within like a day or two, where someone kind of clips it together and I get to watch all the behind the scenes stuff, because it's really interesting. Like, you'd feel invested in this character, even though she's an Imperial, which is probably a lot different for a lot of Star Wars fans. I mean, there's a lot of people who have been and always have embraced the Imperial side. That's their thing. Not for this guy. I mean, I don't know. I just grew up with the good guys,
yeah,
right?
I can't stand the Empire either.
But I don't know. First and foremost, the way the trailer starts with that droid sneaking into her cell and freeing her, that's super cool, man. And then it attaches itself to her back. Like, that's a neat little something I haven't seen in Star Wars before.
Well, there's the Imperial answer to R2 units.
Astromechs, yeah. Yeah, it's true. The Seventh Sister had one.
That's right. Yeah, I
Something
forgot about
like that. Anyhow,
You're right. Yeah, I think the game looks awesome. Like, I'll be super conflicted in killing rebels if I go and get myself a PS4. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's gonna be tough to go around gunning down rebels, but I'll do it. God damn it, I'll do it.
Well, that's the kind of cool part. Like, I think first, like, again, I think a lot of people are going to turn over to the Imperial side. It's going to open their eyes in that regard, because we're going to get a peek behind the curtain of someone who actually looks like a person, like a human being with actual emotions, and not just this whacked out villain. Like, she's obviously believing hardcore in her cause, and she believes that she's right. So in the long run, it can convince you, the viewer, you're going to have probably feelings for, what's her name? Eden Versio?
Yep.
So, I don't know, like, you'll probably want to crush the rebellion at one point too. You'd be like, you bastards.
Well, I mean, if
blowing up the Death Star,
you read
terrorists.
I guess you still haven't read Lost Stars, but you kind of get that feeling a little bit from that book.
No, I can imagine. I mean, granted, she's most likely brainwashed as well, but I'm sure a lot of the tactics the rebels use aren't as friendly as we want to imagine. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a nice little peek behind the curtain, and it's going to be a nice step outside our comfort zone. Because I do think that she's going to hit us in the feels, and we're going to be rooting for her, Like, she's so hardcore with this Inferno Squadron. Like, they're probably like the elite of the elite, And she seems to have purpose and ambition.
Yeah, it looks like a very compelling story.
She seems like a mix of like Hera and Sabine in a way,
Sure, but bad.
Yeah, not necessarily bad from a certain point of view.
Well, there you go. Any shots? Anything about the trailer in particular jump out at you?
Visually, no. I didn't think there's anything like spoilery or anything, but no, not at all. I mean, she saw the Death Star blow up again, like, and she's gonna kind of want to take revenge.
Well, there was that shot of a TIE fighter flying around the wreckage of the Death Star too. That looks awesome. I think you get to fly through that, shooting down whatever, I guess X-wings that are still hanging around. That looks like it's gonna be super awesome, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope we see more of her. That's the kind of thing that kind of upsets me a bit. Well, like, in this time frame right now that they're playing in, they have the book that just came out. They know they've been planning this thing forever, this video game, most likely. It takes a while to develop these things. So why not have her in Rebels, Like, she's maybe not, she'll not be of the rank she is now, because it's a couple years later, but regardless, you could have still had her in a smaller role. Could have been anything. She could have been training with Sabine in that episode with the wedge, the Antilles extraction or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to see her more in the actual, not the actual canon, but outside comics and books and video games, and brought into like an animation or something.
I certainly wouldn't complain about that. I wonder how closely knit, say, the Filoni group is to the video game group, or the the individual studios working on those games. I don't know. I'm sure I'm sure
have to run
somebody is connecting that dot, but
I'm sure it's the story group at Lucasfilm probably plays a big part in the development of these games.
But I think the timeline for a game is much different than the timeline for a show. So I don't know if they can make it work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that they can shoehorn all these aspects into one another's pieces.
Yeah, if they don't know ahead of time. But that's what I'm saying. It looked like on this one they had enough time to be like, hey, it'd be cool to throw her in here.
Well, then there has to be, I guess, a good reason for it other than, hey, look, it's the same person. Anyway.
And that's just a question to you. Like, that's the only single player format you'll be able to play?
That's the campaign mode. That's the campaign. So, yeah.
Interesting.
There was one quick shot of a U-wing, so yeah, there's at least one Rebellion X-wing still in operation post Endor. What else jumped out at me? Operation Cinder, of course. Seeing Palpatine's last wishes being carried out is pretty damn cool. We've seen that in Shattered Empire, which was sort of foiled by Leia and I'm blanking on more names, but yeah. Leia and company. What else in there? Oh, the transports, like flying over Naboo, over Theed City. That looks cool, man. Didn't you think that looked like unbelievable?
Yeah, for sure. Even I was kind of confused too. Like at one point, this can't be I was like, how could this be a campaign? But you see the Falcon flying near Maz's temple,
Well, yeah, and there's towards the end of the trailer, there's a bunch of quick shots, and there's one of Luke who looks like maybe he's been caught by Iden Versio. There's a shot of Maz, and then the Falcon on Takodana being chased by a TIE, which I assume is probably like you playing that part of the game. And then a really quick shot, you blink and you miss it. Kylo Ren using the Force on Starkiller Base, but why? Why is he there? What's it all about, man? And
yeah, because at that point she'd be 30 years older, no?
Yeah, she would have to be in her 50s by that point. If you assume she's in her mid 20s in the game, she'd be mid 50s, pushing 60. And are you still playing Iden Versio as a 60-year-old? I don't know. Like, I'm super interested to find out. But like, they're spanning the whole entire width of this 30-year gap that we want to know so much about. And I have no clue how hard this is going to impact the way we look at things, but I'm stoked, man.
And it's canon as well, right?
Yeah,
like the storyline within its canon.
I mean, they're touching on all these things that we already know about Operation Cinder, and
What about in the? I don't know if maybe this was on multiplayer, because I just don't know enough about the game. But in one of the first trailers, you see Rey and Kylo going at it.
I think that's in the multiplayer. Or the, multiplayer mode. I don't think Rey's going to factor into the campaign at all. I'd be shocked. I'll be shocked.
Yeah, it's
but I don't think. I think that's just the multiplayer part. Yeah, that's it. So, I'm still on the fence of whether or not we're going to bite the bullet. Like, that might be an early Christmas gift to each other. It's just to buy a PS4 and then not get each other anything for Christmas. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm curious to know out there what our powerful friends and everybody else. What do you guys think of this trailer? Are you buying this? I want to know how many friends I might have out there.
Do you know what I want for Christmas, Kyle?
I'm not going to ask. I have a feeling.
I'll tell you.
You know.
It's X-Wing Luke.
Yeah, no, I figured you would say that.
Of the 6-inch variety?
You know, they're
The 40th anniversary
they're
special.
plentiful on eBay.
Yeah, so go ahead and hook me up for Christmas or my birthday.
Sure.
Or you can package them up. I kind of understand at that point. But
Moving on, just a couple of quick other notes. Abrams said in an interview with BBC that episode 9 will be different. Yeah, okay, we kind of already knew that. I think The Last Jedi is going to force Abrams' hand, so we can just put that away.
and I'm confident in that too, man. I think he's gonna do this series justice, this saga.
Yeah, and I think Chris Terrio is still getting kind of punched around a bit for having written or being co-writer of Batman vs. Superman. People conveniently forget that he was also the writer of Oscar-winning Argo. And he's not going to just write this bland rehash of Jedi. That's not going to happen. So yeah, episode 9 is going to be very different, and it's going to go into different territory.
Yeah, it's gonna end with Luke about to jam his saber through Snoke's heart, and Snoke's just gonna say, "Baru." What? Why did you say that?
Oh God! Did you see the image of Vice Admiral Holdo when Laura Dern was on Ellen?
Oh yeah,
And she looks
she's
great.
beautiful, gorgeous, stunning.
I mean, she stands right out amidst all those military colors like the drab olive. She pops right off the screen. She's going to be striking, and she's going to be, I think, a standout character from TLJ.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope she's a good guy because I don't know. I've heard rumors that she may be a bit of a snake in the grass.
Maybe I'd be a little bit surprised though. I mean, I'm still reading Princess Leia, the Princess Leia book. You don't get that from that character in that book. And I granted she's a teenager in the book, and lots of things happen between teenage and adulthood. But I'd be surprised. She seemed too jubilant, if I could use that word in the book. Like she just seemed like a weird, happy person. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I hope.
We can definitely see that it looks like her and Leia have some beef.
I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Oh, that's true. You're right. I mean, there's been photos and just a lot of speculation, I guess. But it seems like a lot of people are saying that.
Well, I didn't MSW. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but didn't they report a while back that Holdo and Poe don't quite see eye to eye?
Yeah, I could see her. I don't know. I don't want to say much about the character because I don't know her at all. I love the way she looked in that picture. I know at one point she's going to be holding a blaster because of what she said on Ellen. Did you see that?
She just said, she got caught in her dressing room just like doing pew-pews.
No, she was doing it while filming.
Oh, was it?
When they saw yeah, like every time she would fire the gun while she was like in the scene, like she'd be going pew, pew.
Well, that is interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. She definitely took a play from Sabine's playbook.
Anyway, I didn't want to get too deep into that because, frankly, there's not a whole lot to cling to. So, anyway, she looks great. I'm really looking forward to seeing that character. And Dave Filoni said things which, Dave Filoni tends to do, and we can maybe tackle that in Bridger Transmissions if we have time. So, stay tuned for that. That's this coming Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? I don't know. just pay attention to your feeds, okay?
Yeah. Watch Rebels Monday, record Tuesday, release Wednesday.
Something like that. All right, Corey, that's it for the news, man.
All right. That was a short one, but I feel like we got a lot done there.
Okay.
Well, I got a lot done there, sorry.
Okay, now we move into a loaded back end of the show. The Binary Sunset is going to crush you, man. So we're going to take a quick break, right, Corey?
Sure.
And then we're back with ads and the gang.
Evening, boys. Evening, everyone. I hope everyone's had a good week. So a couple of questions. The first one is to do with Poe and Kylo. And at the start of The Force Awakens, we obviously see their exchange. And with what we now know, do you think that they may have had some kind of relationship growing up as two people very close to Leia? Or do you see them as two very separate people? And actually the contact between them would have been minimal. So have a chat about that. And then the second one is a bit more of a personal question. So what Star Wars locations have you actually visited? And if you haven't, which ones would you want to? I was lucky enough many years ago to take a holiday to Tunisia and to see large parts of Tatooine, chiefly the Salt Flats. I got to go and see them at sunrise, which was incredible. Only the one sun, I can confirm. And I also saw the Lars homestead at Matmata, where the internal shots were filmed. I got to experience the Star Wars Canyon, I believe, as it was described. I understand that The English Patient and Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark was also filmed there as well. But we know it for the Juntland wastes, so where Luke was attacked by Tusken Raiders and Obi-Wan Kenobi rescued him. So, fond memories, long time ago, as I've said. But where have you been? And if not, where would you want to go? Have a great show, and I shall look forward to listening. Take care. Bye.
All right, Ads, there you go. Thank you, sir. A couple more questions in the vault for this week. So what do you think? Do these guys know each other?
It kind of makes a lot of sense when you think about it. They're roughly the same age. Shara Bey had a close connection to the Skywalker family. That's Poe's mom. It very well could have been, Ben wasn't shipped off to Luke's academy till later on, so, maybe they had like a bit of a rivalry almost growing up, or friendship. I'd say more rivalry though, like I could see them competing as pilots or something. Kylo not expecting this like non-Force user, this muggle, being so good at piloting, jealous of his Force tree.
Well, yeah, and I know what you mean, because before seeing The Force Awakens, I thought for sure there'd be a big connection between the two of those guys. I thought Leia would have been Poe's, like, air quotes, replacement mom after Shara Bey died. And, I thought that at first him and Ben would have been close, almost like brothers, right? Because, like you said, they're pretty much the same age. And then over time, kind of like Thor and Loki, as they were like brothers, but they sort of drifted apart, right? Because one was perfect and the other wasn't. So in this case, Ben would have felt jealousy at Poe. He's the ambitious go-getter, the achiever.
He's like, I gotta go to Uncle Luke's and you get to stay with my mom.
Well, yeah, I mean, just everything Poe did. Poe would always be getting the pat on the head, and he's always getting the full marks, and Poe is just perfect. And nothing Ben did was good enough. He would have felt like his parents were shunning him or being overly hard on him. And he just would have like retreated into dark places as a very young boy. And then like carry that forward, and Leia would see all these dark side tendencies emerging. And then maybe that's when she decides, okay, I need Luke to come in and help get this under control. And sending him away would have maybe deepened that rift. Poe stays with mom, Ben gets sent away to control his temper. Yeah.
Separation anxiety.
Yeah, all that stuff, all that unresolved stuff that would have fueled a teenage boy's complete resentment towards his family.
Well, they don't speak all that much in The Force Awakens, but we definitely know that at least Kylo or Ben knows Poe. Because he says straight up, and this is an interesting way of looking at this. I heard Swank Motron on Twitter put his own twist on this, which was really interesting when I thought about it. So Kylo tells him, he's like, look who we have, kind of like the best pilot in the Resistance, like, woohoo, it's like, you can almost look at it in that regard, like look who's back, it's Mr. Poe, and then Poe's just like, totally like, I can't hear you with all that crap on your face. Like, you could see almost like to have
See, I see
some kind
I
of
see how that scene reads that way, but that is not at all the way I read that scene. Like I see it
no.
as, when Poe takes that shot at Kylo and is brought to him. And Poe looks back at the Force bolt suspended in midair, and he's like, "What the hell?" Like I don't think he knows who he's looking at. And
That makes sense too, because I've never thought of it in that regard until that's the best part about these questions are. You start thinking about them from all these different angles.
yeah, and then of course they bring him to Poe, and they hit him with the butt of the gun in the gut, and he drops down, and he looks at Kylo, and he's like, Kylo doesn't say, "Oh, it's Poe." He doesn't he doesn't see. To me, there's nothing in that initial first meeting in the village that suggests that Kylo knows that it's Poe.
Okay, so that being the case, let me ask you this question. Touching back on that Swank-Matron thing, is it the fact that Poe is just so renowned at this point and so good at what he does that his picture's kind of plastered along First Order hallways, like wanted Poe Dameron, this dude, bad guy, or is it that Kylo's just super high in the intelligence chain that knows, like, I know who this guy is. This is Poe Dameron, who we've heard so much about, or is it that Kylo extracted that information from?
I would think it's that. They could make it both.
Like, Poe's thinking of himself, like he's probing his mind, like, who are you? Oh, you think you're the best pilot in the Resistance, eh?
I think it's that. That's always been my read.
That's interesting. That's because I never even thought about it like that. So when he put it out there, I'm like, that's really cool for him. Yeah, like it makes sense that he would extract that information.
Yeah, that's always the way I felt. That Kylo pulled that from him. But you talked about the intelligence angle. It could also be that, like, they could fingerprint them and say, oh my God, we've got someone pretty high up the command chain here with the Resistance. This is their best pilot. This guy's caused us all kinds of trouble. Or maybe neither one of us are really reading the Poe Dameron comic, but
I have them.
Well, I know you have them, but there's having them and reading them are two separate things.
One thing at a time,
And maybe there's something coming in that title that would easily tip Ben off or Kylo off as to who they have. But yeah, I to me those two don't know each other, and I think it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. And it's almost surprising to me now that because now it almost seems like it would have already been established a little bit at this point instead of being so ambiguous, but ads pointing out like what he did with, Leia, it really does make a lot of sense. And even more so, the fact that they're both born not too long after Jedi. Like, they'd be, I would think,
Well, Poe was born a couple years before, and Kylo
before
was
Jedi?
born. Yeah, he was 2 years old at Battle of Endor, so he's a little bit older, but they're still young enough, close enough to be. No, they're pretty much their age difference is pretty much me and you, like 2 years and a half.
Yeah, I could see a rivalry or some kind of relationship. It would have been nice for them to have touched upon that in that first meeting.
Because imagine that scene. If Kylo takes one look at Poe once he's brought to him and goes, "Oh, of course she sent you," like with all that jealousy and bitterness in it.
Yeah, that'd been good. It's like the Fox and the Hound kind of,
Yeah, like, oh yeah, of course she had to send Golden Boy to do this. We're like, great. Anyway, I think they missed an opportunity there to build yet another rivalry, or maybe they said no, that's too much. We're splitting. We're muddying the waters. We're not making the real conflict clear. So just erase that and keep those two like clear. Anyway, yeah, it just seemed to me that Poe was really not really near Leia in his youth, and he eventually came up to be a pilot in the New Republic, and then somehow later on have gotten on Leia's radar because then she recruits him to be part of the Resistance. Yeah, and if they had done that, if they'd actually built that backstory where they actually do know each other, it would have added all kinds of tension and bitterness in that dogfight that I know it's coming. My headcanon says it's coming. The dogfight in The Last Jedi between Poe and Kylo. Imagine the stakes. Imagine how gripping it would be to know that these two like hate each other.
Yep.
For
That would've
years.
been,
Since childhood, these two have hated each other.
I think you can attest to this. I'm probably sure a lot of people probably would have got upset at that, saying like, "Oh, like the galaxy's a big place. Like, why does everyone know each other?" But this would have fit well in.
Yeah, this would have made sense. But yeah, no, I don't think they have a history together. I think there's a chance that Poe knows who Kylo is, but I don't think Kylo knows. I mean, he does now, but I don't. At that point in TFA at the beginning, I don't think he knew. But that would be my headcanon dogfight between the two that's coming. That's going to be sick.
For sure.
Like, we've never seen two pilots go at it in Star Wars, have we? Like, on the big screen?
Not like
like a one-on-one chase. Like, we've seen, I guess, Boba Fett chasing Obi-Wan through that awful asteroid chase.
Awful. Dude, the sound effects in that scene are amazing.
Oh, the seismic charges are cool. But the speed of that chase it's too much. It's dialed up way too much.
That's why Obi-Wan hates flying.
You seem to be awfully good at it, Obi-Wan. That might be the case of the fanciest flying we've ever seen in Star Wars. And that's why I'm like, oh god, it's just too much. Anyway, so Ad's second part of his question, and boy, Ads, that is so cool that you've been able to visit those places in Tunisia. That is awesome.
Seriously, and I'm glad, like, from listening to, it's like you cherish those memories as you well should.
No question. Like, I've never been to any Star Wars location, not even close. I haven't had a sniff. But if I had to choose, like, it would have to be Tunisia, Tatooine. What about you, Corey?
Yeah, for that sense to touch and be there, and I think you can even rent those places to sleep. I think now.
Really?
I think I had heard something along the line. Don't quote me or anything, but it's possible that I'd seen something like that.
I think I'd be happy just to go and walk around, take some pictures, and get out of Dodge.
No, I want to drink blue milk. I want to do the whole thing. I want the Aunt Beru experience. But yeah, I think just touching back on the roots of it all, I think would be amazing. Like, to stand and imagine the binary sunset.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a simple location, but I think those early scenes on Tatooine in A New Hope, indelible Star Wars images. You can't get away from that. So I mean, Lake Como in Italy. I mean, that's just some of the nicest settings you're going to find. James has been there, so at least somebody from the Tumbling Saber team has done something with their life.
Well, I saw another one in it was another Naboo reference. Again, I believe it was in Italy. It was called Villa de Balbianello. Balbianello.
Was that like a palace or something?
It was just on the water and it was beautiful. That's all I saw, and I was like, this goes on the list.
Well, that's probably the Lake Como area.
Most likely, yeah.
Padme's lake house. That's probably like the actual place on that lake.
Maldives as well. Come on, Scarif.
Yeah, well, that would be a classic Corey loophole for that question. It's set in the original trilogy timeline, so I'm going to go to Scarif loophole. But yes, going to the Maldives, whatever it's called. You could end up in worse places. How about, is it Guatemala, where they had the Massassi temples?
Yeah, that's on my list. That was my biggie. That would be amazing.
And then I guess lastly, it's not really a Star Wars location, and it's definitely not an OT location, but
Skellig.
Absolutely. That's definitely on the list. But Trinity College Library in Dublin. Dave Donovan's been there probably many times, but it's the model. The model for the Jedi Archives. Like, that's the closest you're going to get really, to seeing that impressive library.
I didn't know that. It must have looked like such a goof, but I'd never seen that till a couple weeks, maybe a month ago. And I had posted it somewhere. And anyway, yeah.
Well, you know, better late than never.
It was really cool, though. It's beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Gorgeous. Yeah, anything else jump out? I mean, I feel like there's the forests out in California for Endor. But,
Endor, yeah. I thought about it. Yeah.
Whatever. I think those are for me anyway, the best locations.
And, Cloud City, that would be pretty cool.
Well, that's I don't think that's a place. That's probably a bunch that's a bunch of sets, man.
What do you mean? I'm joking.
All right, ads. Thank you, sir. Looking forward to next week's ads edition.
That was a good one. That was a deep cut, ads.
It makes me realize how poorly traveled I am in this world.
Likewise.
All right, Mr. Bradley's up. Let me just get ready for this. All right, hey guys. Hope all is well on your end. It was so good hearing James' voice on last week's podcast. I agree. Memories. So I have a couple of Star Wars questions this week in regards to viewing Star Wars before seeing The Last Jedi. Do you plan on viewing all 7 movies the week leading up to The Last Jedi coming out, or do you plan on viewing just The Force Awakens, or none of the movies? I haven't made up my mind on what my plans are yet. Most likely my schedule will dictate what I do. All right, as usual, we'll pause there, Corey. And Brad, yes, it was definitely great having James back last week, and that was pretty much a unanimous opinion. So, Corey, what do you think? What are you going to do?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it all that much, but I guess in the back of my mind, I kind of had some kind of plan going on. For the moment, I'm pretty sure I'm in the least going to watch The Force Awakens.
Yeah, same here. You know what?
I'd like to do one episodes 4, 5, 6 as well. That'd be pretty cool.
It's gonna be tough. Like I was looking at the December recording schedule. It's gonna be tight, man.
It's a weekend thing. You gotta watch them on Friday or Saturday night.
Weekends go by so fast, man. With kids with their swimming classes and gymnastics, and there's just not a lot of time. My daughter's birthday is early December. A lot of my time is gonna be eaten up.
That's it. So there you go. Harley, we're doing a Star Wars viewing party for your birthday.
Okay. I'll try and sell her on that. But yeah, no, definitely The Force Awakens, and anything above and beyond that would be a bonus. But like Bradley said, my schedule will dictate how much I can actually get done. All right. Moving on. So we know we still have TV spots coming out and also an international trailer, I assume. Do you plan on watching these? Myself, I'm going to avoid these if at all possible. I'm trying to stay away as much as possible so as not to be spoiled. In fact, I'm not even thinking about the trailer that just dropped. I don't want to figure it out. I want to be completely surprised on opening night. I have a feeling I'm in the minority on this. I'm... I'd like to think I can protect myself from further spoiling The Last Jedi, but who's kidding who? Like, I'm going to watch every TV spot, every international trailer, anything that comes out with the Lucasfilm stamp of approval, I'm going to watch it. Because I don't think they'll spoil that much, really. I mean, we got the trailer a couple weeks ago. I still don't know what the hell's going on in this movie. And I doubt they're going to change that now. But and they'll probably just keep us asking even more questions. But I'll also say this. I haven't watched that trailer in a week. And I don't think I'm going to watch it again. Maybe not for a while, unless somebody asks us a question and that forces me to watch it. But like Bradley's doing. I'm trying to let it settle, let it fade a little bit, and then once we see the movie, all this stuff comes popping back out. Yeah, I don't know. You might be in a minority, Bradley, but you might have more company than you realize. But what about you, Corey?
I don't know. I was like, I don't want to. I'm like lying to myself now. I'm like 3 beers in, so I'm probably being a little more honest with myself. And The Force Awakens, Rogue One, I did it. Both of them didn't spoil a thing for me. I also find the international trailers, they might throw a tidbit here, a tidbit there, but they're not all that much different. Like, they're spliced differently, new musical score, but I don't think they've done their job at this point, and they're going to keep it vague. And for the most part, I think they would probably even use the better part of the same images they did in this or the prior one. And maybe you see a few more really ambiguous shots of some cool stuff. Like, I don't think it's really going to spoil anything, like Kyle said. So I was going to say it depends on Kyle, but in the least, I'm not going to be like hanging on a thread where everyone's like, the international trailer's coming out in like 2 hours. Oh my God. Like, I'll be like, yeah, I'll wait till morning. Like, if it's past my bedtime or whatever, like and then I'll see kind of somewhat people's reaction. If it's, maybe I'll test the waters first. Probably lying to myself, but
I think you are lying to yourself.
but I'm definitely not gonna like be like, oh my God, it just dropped. Like, I have to go watch it now.
Well, I think they're typically very much the same as the air quote standard trailer, and they just sneak in a few extra shots here and there.
That makes sense. I don't think it's gonna spoil anything. That's for sure.
No. And then finally from Bradley, would you guys happen to know who wrote / performed the music for The Last Jedi trailer? I thought it was well done and has me thinking, if the music in the trailer is awesome, wait until the movie. I personally loved the music, and it has me excited for what John Williams is going to give us in the next chapter of the Star Wars universe. Hope you guys have a great show, and may the Force be with you. Cheers, Bradley Hall. So I'm pretty I don't know.
Really?
Well, at the time, if you go back to TFA and Rogue One, by this point, after the trailers had been announced or seen, somebody had stepped up and said, hey, I did the music, and everybody showered that person with praise. And unless I've missed it, I haven't seen that person step up and go, oh, I did the music for the Last Jedi trailer. Hi, everybody. So it could very well be John Williams' music. I don't know. I just know that's... I know for TFA and Rogue One that it was somebody else.
Did you try and Google the answer, or
did you?
No, that's the thing, because the first thing in my show notes is, this is Kyle's show, so I figured he did the research. But I'm assuming that it's J-Dub for sure.
Well, the answer is I did look, although I didn't look today. I've looked in the past, and I didn't see it. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody's claimed credit for it, like a terror attack. Maybe I'll do a quick search right now.
They wouldn't show it on IMDb?
I'm not going into that rat nest. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything here where somebody has stepped up. I don't know. Maybe somebody listening knows. It could very well be John Williams. It could be somebody else who has yet to claim credit. But I know that for Rogue One and TFA, somebody had already stepped up to say, that was us. Or me, whatever the case may be. So Bradley, it's still kind of an unknown. I don't know. It could very well be John Williams. A lot of people seem to think it was.
I think so.
I guess we will find out.
That's why you liked it so much, Bradley.
But the music for the trailers in TFA and Rogue One was also amazing. And it turned out it wasn't John Williams. Anyway, Bradley, thank you, sir. Great questions again this week. I'm getting excited, man. Getting definitely excited, and I hope I get time to squeeze in a bunch of Star Wars viewings before. But again, hectic schedule. We'll see. And then we move on to Rob Williams, Rob Yees at Gen X Wing. And
I'm sad. My submission for his nickname was Biker Scout Bob.
I like that one. It's pretty good. So my question is, will we ever find out where Maz got Anakin's saber? If so, how? What's your theory? What say you, Corey?
Well, I think that's a really awesome question. I guess I've thought about it a bit, not in some time. But either way, it's kind of the inspiration behind this show's name. Like, I had no part of that. Obviously, Kyle was inspired by that. There's a huge rumor going on back in the day that, the movie The Force Awakens would open with Luke Skywalker's severed hand still holding on to the lightsaber and floating in space. Like, where's it going to go? I don't know. But we know the only clue we really have is Maz. Maz has it, and she's the right person to have that artifact.
How convenient.
Exactly. So how did she get it? Is it a coincidence? In my opinion, no. And it could have went a couple of ways, I guess. It could be a Wills of the Force thing, where some kind of like, yeah, tumbling, bumbling, stumbling traveler, whatever, wanders in and says, "Hey, look what I found." And she's like, "Ooh, give me that," and she snatches it up on the fly because, she has a lot of traffic and some pretty shady people coming in and out of that place. Or at one point, it landed in the hands of someone that was friendly with the Church of the Force, possibly Lord Santeca. And, they get it to her because they know it's going to be safe. And, she's a keeper of secrets. She's been alive for a long time. No one really seems to mess with her. So that she knows, like, basically they give it to her and they're like, "Trust me, you'll know when it's time to give this thing away." Like Maz is not stupid either.
No, I don't think you live for that long and be an idiot. Yeah, you're right. There's a backstory attached to that whole thing, and it was supposed to. The opening of The Force Awakens, I think there was in one of the early edits or in a draft, it was supposed to document how the saber was spinning through space with the hand attached, and then just I guess as it passes through an atmosphere, the hand burns off, and the saber crash lands on a planet, and it gets picked up by some villager. I don't know what planet this is, but the villager picks up this lightsaber, ignites it, and starts a brush fire with it, and it's chaos, and it sounds pretty goofy. But then there was some sort of battle over the saber, which might be what we see in the Force back. We just don't know. There's a
and
shot.
Rey could be there.
Rey.
Ooh.
I don't know if
the saber was looking for her.
Well, maybe, but in that scene in the trailer, it's Kylo Ren with the Knights of Ren. So, but in the trailer, it's a different shot. It's a different cropped shot from what we got in the final cut. Because in the trailer, you see Kylo Ren holding a lightsaber in his left hand. He's got his right one lit, ignited, but in his other hand, you see what I presume is the Skywalker saber. But in the final cut of the movie, they cropped that closer so you don't see Kylo's hand anymore. And I don't know why they did that. So that shot we see in the Force back with the rain and all those dead bodies on the ground could be part of that sequence that was in an early draft where there was a battle and they think it was the Seven versus the Clan or something like that, which I think alludes to the Knights of Ren against some group. And then somehow Kylo loses the saber and it comes into Maz's hand. And I definitely think we're going to find out how that happened. But I don't know that I have really any theories about it. Maybe it's Bazine Natal. Given her exploits in The Perfect Weapon, maybe she, we don't know if that she actually picked up Vader's saber or not, but maybe she's just this hunter extraordinaire for lightsabers. I don't know. I have no clue. But
what about this? Do you remember? I can't remember if it was. It must have been 2016, maybe 2015. It was a fan art, but it won an award for like fan art of the year or something for Star Wars. It was really interesting. It was super McQuarrie-esque, and it was kind of like this depiction of someone holding Luke's hand in the jar, like in like a jar that's like a preservative jar, kind of, in some kind of like basically like making like a shady backdoor deal. You remember that one?
I think, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I it's hard to say. I mean, it's not something I really thought about that much. And then, so Carlos sent us an email like very soon before we recorded here, and he asked us like the very same question. So I guess this ends up being sort of a tag team question of Rob and Carlos asking us, What was, I don't know, I think Carlos' question was pretty much worded the same. I'll just double check. Yeah, so Carlos asked, will we ever learn how Maz got her hands on the Skywalker blue lightsaber? Will we find out on screen, episode 8 or 9, in a novel or a comic? So what do you think about that, Corey?
I don't know. From what we've heard, well, first of all, like, Lupita Nyong'o wasn't even really rumored to be in this movie for a long time. Now it's confirmed she's in it. But from what we heard, her role is minimal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to touch upon that, because I don't know how important it can be to their story as of yet. But if it has something to do with their heritage, then yes. I definitely don't. If they're going to do it, they should do it on screen and not in a novel or a comic. Like, once they touch upon it on screen, like, just give you the quick, short answer, then they can go back and do novels and comics or whatever. More like a comic, in my opinion, where, you know, that story of how the saber got passed along and finally got to Maz.
See, I kind of think the opposite. I don't think it's important. So I think Rob and Carlos both asked us the same thing. Is it important? I don't think it is. I mean, based on what we know today, before The Last Jedi comes out, no, it's not important. We know that Maz has it for some reason, which to this point is not all that important.
It's intriguing, though.
Oh, sure, yeah, it is. But
that's the thing. It's not important that we know, but I think everyone's kind of curious as to, you know, throw us a little cool little backstory to it.
Well, and that's where the comics and novels come in. You don't need to fill up valuable screen time explaining something that is not important. You know, there's so much to go into a Star Wars movie that this piece that we both agree is not really important. Why are you going to waste time on that?
Well, we've even heard that Rey's heritage is not really important to the overall arc, but in the long run, like, if that saber, again, like, came to, like, her family first, you know? Like, if her family somehow had it at one point.
Well, yeah, maybe, I mean, maybe her, I don't know. I have no clue. But maybe you're right. Maybe she was part of some clan, and the saber came to them, and they fought to protect this relic and lost. I don't know.
And this prodigy, like, her parents obviously knew she was special. There's a reason why she was dropped off on Jakku.
Yeah, I would totally think so. Yeah, but I see a novel or a comic, and a comic for sure. I think a comic's a perfect place to explain that backstory. And I can already hear the solicitation of the one shot in my head. Like, it would say, like, oh, how did Maz come to own the legendary Skywalker's saber?
Tumbling saber.
Yes. Long before it fell into the hands of the diminutive pub owner, the Skywalker tumbling saber went on an epic journey that spans the ages and crosses paths of characters both familiar and strange. There you go. There's a solicitation for a one shot.
No, it's one kyber crystal, one mission,
and that's it. Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at this. Carlos also asked us.
Well, I just think, like, touching back on that, like, I agree with you. I think the full explanation should be, if ever, should be in a comic or novel. But, like, at least they could still allude to it in a film. Like, not make it, like, super significant in the film, but be like, yeah, we got the saber here for the general fan.
I'm sure there are ways to do it, but we know that Maz is probably the one to tell that story, and we know that she's going to be in The Last Jedi very sparingly. So I don't think that's going to happen in Episode 8. Maybe it happens in 9 for some reason, but I'm pretty convinced it's not going to happen in 8.
It could. I'm not going to say yeah or nay just because we know that Kathleen Kennedy said something about Rey finding out about her heritage in this film. And if it's all linked, then it could all tie in together.
I suppose so. Like, I thought Maz's presence in this movie, she would help Rey connect the dots and figure out who her family is. But apparently, spoiler alert, I guess. Maz's role in the movie is not to plug any holes for Rey. It's to help the Resistance find DJ. Like they point the Resistance saying in the direction of Canto Bight to get DJ, because for whatever reason he's the person they need to. Blah blah blah.
No, I got you. I've heard that as well. A lot of people owe Maz favors, and she's got a lot of connections.
Exactly. So I don't know. I tend to not think that the finding out exactly where the saber went is important to the movie on screen, but it's important to us fans who care about everything. We want to know what these characters ate for breakfast. Like,
ooh, Afra found it. What?
They should work Afra into that. I think they'd be a little bit silly for Afra not to be a part of that story, at least at the beginning of it.
That's how her run ends, with her getting the tumbling saber over to Maz Kanata.
Dr. Afra should absolutely be a part of that. That's a perfect call. That's a great way to, I guess, even up the ante more for Afra. Because Darth Vader would probably want that saber back too.
Hells yeah.
So that makes all kinds of sense to me.
I'm gonna bleed that thing.
And then Carlos asks us, do you believe the backstory of the tumbling saber has already been written? I do.
I have to agree, I do as well. Just when you're taking the things into consideration, not even necessarily canon. They can't be considered canon until they're in a novel or on screen, but look what they did with Mustafar. Like, the writer said, hey, we need to be more familiar with this place, and we kind of gotta make it our own, So they wrote all this cool stuff that, it's in their head. It was their headcanon, which allowed them to establish more,
Well, yeah, they didn't write up TFA and say, well, why does Maz have it? Who cares why she has it? She just does. Like, they came up with a perfectly good reason why she does, and that reason will be one day what probably comes to light, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence either that she has a couple of dead Jedi in the next room, supposedly.
Yep. Yeah, it's a crypt next door. And then lastly, Carlos asks us, do you feel like a piece of your identity as the Tumbling Saber podcast is lost? No. I don't think so. I mean, without the Tumbling Saber, we have a entirely different name.
Yeah, I love the Tumbling Saber. I always thought it was super catchy, and I wasn't in on the first couple episodes. And well, Kyle chose the name himself. It's his bag, right? And from his point of view, we were going to see that in the film most likely. So him having named it that, like,
no, I knew it was cut. I knew that was getting cut.
Okay.
But it's still like the image or the connotation or the inference, whatever the implication that this saber has been tumbling through space for all these years. It appealed to me.
It's true. It might hit a peak at one point if they do come out with the story, but super original name, and we're still playing off that. We're still waiting. So in that regard, it's good. Well chosen.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So Rob X, Rob Yees, Biker Scout Bob. I guess we have to go with Rob Yees, right? That's what he wants.
Yep.
That's what was said. And Carlos, thank you guys. It's odd. Like, did I miss something? Like, how does this happen in 1 week of all the weeks? It happened the same. We get the same question twice in the same week. That is very bizarre. Did something come up in the news related to this? Like, I have no idea, but I found that very bizarre. So guys, there you go. I don't really have any hard and fast theory on how Maz gets it. She gets it. It's unimportant why, but and it'll be cool to find out one day why she has it. And I think we will get that answer in a comic book. Thank you guys for the great question this week. And let us know if you have any thoughts on how Maz got it. We'd definitely like to hear. And we hear from our friend Dave Donovan over in Dublin, who's got a question for us. He goes, question for you guys. It's been around, but I can't answer it with any peace for myself. Is it better for Luke to die in sacrifice to save Rey and Kylo, or at the hands of Snoke or Kylo? Or have him turn to the dark side, destroy them, reveal to Rey he's her father, and take over as Master All-Powerful? A basic version of this very question was the one Mark Hamill was sent and asked most during the production of Return of the Jedi. Yet here we are again, but in a different way. Luke as the Master or as Conqueror. Conqueror ending leaves the door open for further trilogies and works to the twisted bad news culture that is the modern day and zeitgeist. But will it go there? Looking forward to hearing you guys play this one. All right, Corey, I'm going to kick it over to you first.
Well, it's kind of interesting. You touched upon something at the beginning of this question. I think I know what he's talking about. An early draft of Return of the Jedi. Hence maybe why it was called Revenge of the Jedi, but it had Luke, basically once Vader had passed on, I think putting on Vader's helmet and proclaiming that he was now Darth Vader.
That's pretty dark, right?
Oh man, that's dark. So,
but also dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah, that would have what Dave. It's kind of doing what Dave's saying. Is it's leaving the door open for more storytelling, I guess. But in that film, the way it played out in that film, it wouldn't make any sense. But it could have been written differently.
I mean, for me, the answer to this question is short, and I hate to be so stubborn, but to me, anything is preferable to having Luke turn to the dark side. Like, kill him in a sacrifice, kill him in a straight up battle, but turning Luke to the dark side now, that it wrecks the climax of Return of the Jedi. It Luke's wrecks story as a whole, and it would just be another, I don't know, another decision along with potentially revisiting the Chosen One that would threaten to ruin a great story. Like, he tells Palpatine right to his face, I'll never turn to the dark side. He throws away his lightsaber. Like, that's Luke declaring to everyone, I'm a hero. I'm on this side. Like, they can't retcon that moment just to shock us. Like, that's cheap. That's lazy storytelling. So yeah, definitely give me the sacrifice or just being straight up bested in battle. Like, that's infinitely better than having Luke turn to the dark side. Easy question for me.
I have to agree with you there. I have the exact same written in a way. Like, after Jedi, you just can't do it.
You can't. Like, I mean, I guess you can have Luke's thoughts drift to dark places going on.
That's where we're at. That's kind of my point here, is that it could be an interesting story arc, but at the same time, we know Luke seems quite jaded in this film. He's got his own new points of view. He's dark. He has kind of given up. And as a fan, I'm like, he was disappointed, as Dave said, in reading this. Not disappointed, but like surprised. And we as fans as well are like, oh man, we're kind of all hoping a little more for Luke. And I'm hoping that this is his rock bottom, where he's at, and that by the end of this film, he'll come to his senses, you know. But in the same right, what Dave is saying, it would surprise me a lot, but at the same time, it wouldn't. Just for the bold manner of it all, and how we'd all just be like, oh my god, like, Luke is the mastermind or whatever. Like, I don't know, like, somehow
I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that. That ruins Luke's story in the OT. It completely steps on it, crushes it, grinds it underneath a cheap reveals boot.
In the least, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to go down that route, and I hope, again, like, where we see him is his rock bottom, and that he's able to rise up from there. And I definitely prefer trying to, again, save his nephew and get him to the light side and die trying or whatever.
Yeah, well, again, look back to Obi-Wan and Yoda, right? Like, yes, Luke lost his academy, and a bunch of his students were killed. Was it a handful, or did he have dozens of students? I don't know. Well, maybe we'll find out. But we know that Obi-Wan and Yoda lost everybody, and they didn't turn to the dark side. So to put Luke in that same scenario, but turn him, makes Luke really weak.
That makes sense too.
when he shouldn't be. Like Luke should be. I don't know if he should be on another level.
But at the same time, like, what if Luke knows something now? Like, he knows there's a new way of looking at things that has changed his perspective. So he knows the Jedi of the past weren't really on the right course. So his world's been shaken at that point, you know?
That's fine, but it doesn't mean that this new way of looking at things involves the dark side. It just maybe involves not being an idiot like Mace Windu and those guys.
No, I agree with you. And again, I hope that's the lowest we see him. But some of the representation, especially in the trailer, that one scene in particular where Rey is kind of in this, it looks like they're in the cave and Luke's standing there. Like, Luke looks like he's pissed. Like there's something in that scene, and the way she stands is all about the body language, and not only her and him.
It's threatening, defensive body language.
Yeah, something's going on there. So I think in the long run, this could be Luke's mega rock bottom, where he's hid something from her. He hasn't told her the full truth. He's being selfish. And I hope he comes around. I hope it's not that thing where Rey's just like, dude, like you're turning, you know? I hope it's not that, because like Kyle said, he's been through so much, chucking the saber. Like, that's one of the quintessential moments of all the first 6 movies.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I mean, just to keep it short and not to drone on forever, no dark side Luke.
I hope not, but I can't say it wouldn't surprise me in this day and age either.
Oh, I'm going to pray the rosary that they don't do this to Luke. Okay, Dave, I hope that helps you decide. I think you get 2 pretty good firm answers on this side. Maybe that helps. And we're sticking with Luke, with Katie's question this week. Very short one, which is the start of a series of questions. But what is your favorite Luke Skywalker moment? And you can reference all forms of books, comics, games, TV, and of course the films. So Corey, what do you got?
Remember that time in Rebels?
Oh, jeez.
I'm joking. I looked at my list. Like, it's interesting again. Like I was saying earlier, like, you don't really think. I never really thought about this. You know, like, I love Luke, and I know there's so many great scenes with him, but really pinpointing which scenes like are the best, it's hard. And I'm thinking about, you know, Empire is my favorite movie, but in Empire, like, I mean, come on, he gets beaten up by a Wampa at the beginning. Kind of does pretty good stuff. Well, does he? The attack on Hoth, he's up and at him. Dagobah's cool, but a lot of my list was Jedi centric. I have to think.
Well, sure. Yeah, same here.
Like, just right off the bat, we see Luke in Jedi, and he's like just walking down the stairs of Jabba's palace, and he's like, "Choke you bitches out!" Like, you're like, whoa! Like, what happened to Luke?
Oh,
like,
see, he already was dark side. Don't tell me he can't turn dark. He was. Come on. He's just. But he's expediting the process.
I agree with you. I totally get that from you. But like, as an audience member, like, it's shocking. You're like, oh wow, he's so much more powerful now. Like, he's a Jedi. Like, almost like they want to portray that to you, right? Like,
yeah, like there's no effort with Luke now. He's just like gentle wave of the hand, and you go choke over there, and you go choke over there. Thank you. Yeah, I think my favorite moments are also out of Jedi, and I spoke about it a minute ago in Dave's question. Throwing away his lightsaber. Like, this is my runner-up moment. But throwing away the lightsaber and saying I am a Jedi, like my father before me, like that carries so much more weight now. I guess after you see Order 66 and the Jedi completely stamped out, to hear Luke proclaim that I am a Jedi, like that just must burn Palpatine. It must like chaff his ass so bad.
He's like, I thought I wiped you guys out. God damn it.
But in Palpatine's mind, he's like, okay, I guess I have to cook this guy too. So that's my runner-up moment. But my favorite moment, I think, is Luke talking to Vader on Endor. You know what I mean? Like when he's unarmed, he's given himself up to Vader.
He gives him his lightsaber and everything.
Well, the officer does, yeah, but like Luke, here's Luke unarmed, appealing to Anakin to come back. Like, come with me. Like in both of these moments, it's Luke unarmed, face to face with Vader and the Emperor. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
that.
And he holds his own. Yeah, you're right.
Those are two very, very courageous moments with Luke. And
you want this?
But both in both cases, it's Luke. You know, in one case it's outright defiance to the Emperor, and in the other case it's begging his dad to come back. Like, and again, he's unarmed. And this is the way he's approaching it, which,
well, he's always had the Stugats for that. Like, look at Empire 2. He's like, sorry, Yoda, bailing out my training. My friends will need me. Like, no, this isn't right. Like,
but that was way different, right? That was, I'm strapped with my blaster. I've got my lightsaber. I'm out of here. I'm going to go kick some ass. This is, I'm laying down my weapons and I'm going to try it. I'm going to try and talk you guys down.
Oh, for sure. I got you. That's pretty much my number one scene, I would think. Like, looking at Luke, like, that's his moment.
Yeah, I only in later years do you come to realize that Luke's bravest moments are done while he's unarmed. And I guess you can extend that to a literal interpretation in Empire. Like Vader's, come with me. It's the only way. And rather than do that, Luke just drops off the edge of that gantry and just whatever happens, happens. Like that took some balls too.
We touched on a lot of the significant ones, I would think. Like you want to speak about Empire, but in Empire again, he's like, he's kind of the loser in that battle and facing the truth, and those are great. One of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars, but maybe not my favorite Luke moments. Like he kind of just gets his ass handed to him throughout that whole film. Wampa, Yoda, Vader.
Oh, it's the whole movie is humble pie for Luke.
Yep. But then you see him again, Jabba's palace. Gets in there, he's just like, whatever. Like, I choked your guys out. I got in here, no problem. I took down your Rancor. Now they got them on the skiff.
I took out all your entire army of thugs.
Yeah, like that's amazing. Even the force kick. I don't know if you ever saw that.
The one that never actually touches the guy.
Yeah. Either way, just that salute to R2. That whole scene, so cool. Kus Numa.
Yeah,
like,
the first time you see that, when you realize how far Luke has come from the kid who was overmatched against Vader to, I'm taking care of everything.
Yeah, you're looking at the binary sunsets boy, and now you're looking at this dude all dressed in black, like
confident.
Even Han's like
super confident. Like the last time you saw Luke,
of grandeur.
The last time you see Luke, he's anything but confident. He's just had his tail kicked, and now here he is, fully ready to take on whatever challenge. So yeah, that's definitely a whole great Luke sequence. I wonder how they would approach that scene now in 2017 with improved effects and choreography. I think that scene would be entirely different now. But Katie, considering this is the first in a series of questions, I am definitely looking forward to what you've got next. Going to be cool.
I just got a text from Kigo.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Well, it's nothing really Star Wars related. It's kind of funny.
Okay.
I sent him a message yesterday at 5:44 a.m. my time, saying, "My wife had some girls over tonight and they kept me up all night. It's almost 6 a.m. Let me tell you, if I did that with my boys, my marriage would be over. # double standards." And he just wrote, ha ha ha, with some beers, in hand. And now he just texted me saying, "Hey, remember sending me drunken love texts at 4 a.m.?
Loose lips, Corey. Just be careful, man.
Hey, whatever. It is what it is. It's true. I'm not lying. I wanted to go to bed.
Just keep a very tricky password on your phone. That's all I'm going to say.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's incredible.
All right, let's wrap up the show here with Jeffrey. Jeffrey usually throws us a softball to close out the show, but not so today. So Jeffrey says, "Hello, my friends. Got another hypothetical for you. How do you think the Skywalker story would have gone if Anakin would have never turned to the dark side?" Sort of a question that is impossible to consider. But just for fun, Corey, we're going to do it. So, what do you think? Do you want me to lead this one?
Yeah, have at it, man.
All right. So, again, it's so tough to think about how does a story go where Anakin doesn't go dark? Because there's that whole moment, right? Like the moment where he chops off Windu's hand. Like the choice he makes. Like, I need to save Palpatine. He knows how to keep Padme from dying. So at all costs, I'm going to protect him, even though he might be the biggest piece of crap ever. So I don't know. Like, let's say Anakin chooses a different path, a slightly different path in that moment, and just merely blocks Windu's killing blow. But even at that, like it would have taken an extraordinary moment of clarity that Anakin almost never seems to have, for him to put his selfishness aside for the good of the galaxy. So, and that's what...
That's not true. Like, I think at one point, Pat, both of them very committed to their duties. Padme more so, I would say, because if Padme were to come to him and be like, Anakin, like, take me away from all this, let's just leave. Like, he'd be like, yeah. Like, I know this place called Mortis.
Well, didn't she try to do that?
Yeah, but at that point, it was already too late.
No, like when she's brushing her hair out on the balcony, and wasn't she talking about like going to raise the kids?
Yeah, but at that point, like, again, it was too late, you know?
But why?
Like, because he had already started down the dark path.
So where is the start of the dark path?
When he's having dreams of his mom. And then he ends up slaughtering an entire village.
Well, it's still... We have to come up with a story where Anakin never turns to the dark side in order to save Padme. It seems like that's an impossible scenario. But anyway,
how about this? Watto's dice doesn't go the way Qui-Gon thinks. He stays with Shmi.
Is Palpatine aware he's there?
No, because in my opinion, Palpatine's not even aware he's there in the Phantom Menace.
Well, it's
like,
only
it's
at the end
just
where
a
he says,
coincidence.
We'll watch your career with great interest, right?
Exactly. It's like the wills of the Force playing in the favor of the Sith. Like, he's like, everything's coming together now.
Everything's coming up, Sheev.
Yeah. He's like, I've seen this before.
Well, see, I'm going to stick with my scenario in Palpatine's office. Just that moment. It's that crucial moment where Anakin has to make a choice. Like, Palpatine tells him, you must choose. Right? Like, his face is all turning into like classic Sith form. And Anakin doesn't know what to do. Like, he had time to kind of think about it. But then Windu goes to kill Palpatine, and Anakin chops off his hand. But let's say he doesn't do that. Let's say, I don't know, he force pushes Windu, or he just blocks the lightsaber. Like, there would have needed to have been this bolt of lightning to Anakin's head going, oh my god, like, what is going down here? What am I doing? So I don't know if it's even possible for that moment to have gone any differently, but just for the hell of it, let's just say that they come to their senses momentarily and decide, okay, Palpatine has been messing with my head the whole time. What do they do next? Like, we know that they can't arrest Palpatine, because Palpatine's not going anywhere. He's in everybody's pockets, and he's in every...
That was for Matt Kigo. I just sent him a message. I was like, listen to this.
I still wouldn't. I have no idea why you'd be drinking beers at midnight. When you have to go to work in like 8 hours from now.
It helps me sleep.
I'm pretty sure scientifically that is not possible. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think everything rides on how the Jedi manage their next step with Anakin. Because like I said, like Palpatine's not going to jail. Not even for a second. And he's probably still going to put Order 66 into effect. Like there's no reason why he wouldn't do that. Like the Jedi are still out in the galaxy fighting. There's nothing that stops Palpatine from saying, "Hey, the Jedi just tried to kill me." Order 66, and all the Jedi out there still get killed. So I don't know, like whatever Jedi are around with Anakin, so Mace Windu, maybe they get Padme roped in and Obi-Wan and say, "Listen, guys," well, Obi-Wan's on Utapau. They have to have some kind of intervention, major intervention with Anakin, and say, "Fine, the secret is up. You guys are a couple. I don't know, like we need to get you out of here because Sidious has his hooks into you, and we can't have that. You're the prophesized one. You cannot be a part of his plan. So just take your wife. Let's all go." You know what I mean? Or maybe Yoda. Here's something cool. Yoda pulls a rabbit out of his hat, and we know that he's been communicating with Qui-Gon. And maybe he realizes that, okay, the only guy that Anakin hasn't listened to us since day one. I'm going to put him in touch with Qui-Gon. He will listen. And so that there's maybe one way to get through to Anakin. Get Qui-Gon to do it. I don't know. Maybe give him his outright release from the Jedi Order so he can go just be at peace with his family. Padme will be safe, your kids will be safe, and just go far away from here. I don't know. What do you think? Are your eyes glazing over now?
Yeah, kind of. It's a lot to think about. Like, to me, honestly, it always boils down to, Kyle's gonna say this is really lame, but it's the wills of the Force, and at that time, everything was coming up dark side. So, like, they were just on a roll, like, it's the way, it's almost like time travel in a way, like, when there's things are gonna happen, and they're gonna happen at one point, no matter what. Like Skynet, kind of.
Well,
like
I know. That's like we said at the beginning. It's impossible for this scene to have gone any differently. Like this is all nonsense now.
No, but I'm not talking about even that scene. I'm saying that even if Anakin were to say in Attack of the Clones, like after he got his arm lopped off, like, "Hey, Padme, let's get married and get the hell out of here," Like, let's go move back with.
Let's go move in with Owen and Beru.
Lars. Yeah. The Lars residence.
Well, he's going to go move in right to the place where he hates with all that sand.
For his family, yeah. Well, obviously he didn't, but even at that, though, like you had just touched upon it earlier, Order 66 still gets executed at one point. And that will be interesting to see how he handles that at one point. He can come back, father, son, and daughter.
Well,
the trifecta, like...
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. I think that's
exactly.
Where it gets really interesting. Because, like, Anakin is still the chosen one. He still has to bring balance. He still has to be the guy to destroy the Sith. So he can't be out of the picture forever. So, how long can Anakin sit on the sidelines while Palpatine does his thing? I don't know. So, at some point, Anakin and Palpatine are going to be back in the same place. So, I don't know. This is crazy. Like the Jedi that are left, the ones that survive Order 66, the ones that are at the intervention with Anakin, like I feel like they would need to bug out together. Maybe grab a few allies. Maybe Bail Organa's the one that gets them out. Maybe it's a way to work Acto into the place, into this whole scenario. I don't know if they know about Acto, but maybe they find some way to discover it, and they turn up there, get Anakin under control, keep Padme safe. The kids are born, they're brought up on the site of the first Jedi Temple, and then to fast forward 20 years, and they take a run at Palpatine once the kids are grown up. That'd be pretty cool, right? Like Anakin at mid 40s, still probably powerful as hell. And he's got his 2 kids in tow, and they're going to go take a run at Palpatine. That would be amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool. Especially if he has a new and chosen one kind of perspective on the Force.
Well, yeah, and you wonder if Acto becomes another Mortis.
Yeah, kind of. Who knows where they would have ended up? That's it. Like, but in the same right, I don't know. There's something wrong with Anakin. Even in Attack of the Clones, it becomes really evident that just the way he talks with Padme.
Well, it's his attachment issues.
Not only that, but it's his people confronting him. Like, even like when he's talking to her with those senators at one point, he's like, "Excuse me, my lady, I'm the security detail on this mission." She's like, "Well, excuse me," and he's just like, "You see, I can't believe you spoke to me this way. I'm Anakin Skywalker."
Yeah, it's the whole thing of him wanting power and authority and not getting it. Like, even on the mission that he feels he was in charge of, he still gets sort of talked down to. And Obi-Wan's always talking down to him, and the council won't respect him. He just feels like he has no agency in his own life, and he's the chosen one. Why are they not giving me any type of trust?
I should be a 007. I mean, a master.
Yeah, I mean that continues to feel it, right? It's the separation from his mom, the fear of losing, or fear of not having Padme. Then that becomes a fear of losing her as well. It's just,
yeah. Well, it's definitely really powerful because in the long run, he's a lover. Like, he lost his mom, but he loved his mom, and Padme is an angel to him. He's loved her since day one. So the fear of losing someone and the power that he has. I don't know, like...
Well, that's what it's all about, right? How does a good person go bad?
After watching the Clone Wars animated series gives so much more perspective to those films. Like, to watch those is like, okay, like, there's a lot going on here. To just see the films as opposed to the animated stuff, like, it just fills in so many gaps. And at that point, it's so much harder for me to watch Anakin turn to the dark side once, like, having watched the Clone Wars. Because he's such a hero. They make subtle hints here and there, but at the same time, he has a heart of gold, He's powerful.
Yeah, he always wanted to do... Yeah, I mean, that's the crux of Lucas's story with Anakin, is how does a good person go bad? That's what makes it so good. I mean, and you could tell. I mean, they hit you over the head with that in The Phantom Menace. And, he acts without any thought of reward, and he's such a good boy. But eventually, all those good intentions aren't so good anymore. Or they come with strings attached. Anyway, that is such a tough one. That's one of the tougher ones. I mean, usually I'm the one that throws out what if scenarios to other podcasts and let them deal with the fallout. But Jeffrey nailed us this week. That's one of the tougher ones.
I'd say in the long run, I think the same series of events would kind of fall into place at the same time, roughly, give or take maybe a year or two in each scenario. But if Anakin were to take off, train his children, the rebellion forms or whatever, he comes back into the fray, and he could possibly be the Obi-Wan kind of character.
Yeah, and man,
die, and then she Leia takes on the government political factor, while Luke follows through with the Jedi stuff,
or maybe not. I mean,
or vice versa. Yeah,
we know from a certain point of view that Yoda had his eye on Leia the whole time, but
that's true too. It could have been both of them, or Luke being the politician, which I don't see at all. But yeah, definitely both of them coming back as Jedi would be the best scenario to liberate the galaxy. But I think at one point he'd still meet his fate.
Well, yeah, I guess he kind of has to. One way or the other. I mean, his fate was to bring balance. Now, what side was he on when he does that? I guess ultimately he was on the light side, but it was a hell of a roller coaster ride in between. Yeah, it's just so hard to talk yourself into a place where Anakin doesn't go dark. It's so difficult because none of it makes sense. None of it makes any sense at all. It just feels like, I mean, it's really the great thing about Lucas's story is that you make a fool of yourself trying to talk yourself out of what happened. Like that scene in Palpatine's office is perfect. It makes just complete sense that there's no other way for that scene to have played out. And Windu was set that Palpatine had to die, and Anakin was set that Palpatine had to live. There was no talking to either of those guys. Anyway, that's Jeffrey. That's a tough one, man. Usually Jeff throws us like those batting practice softballs, fastballs right down the middle of the plate.
Yeah, Seinfeld related or...
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all.
No, me neither. Every question this week we had was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there's a couple of brain busters in there. But I don't know. Did someone out there who reads a lot more than I do, like, did they ever do a what if comic? I think it was Star Wars Infinities. Was that what it was called? It was sort of the what if scenarios, but put to print. So did they do one where Anakin never goes bad? I would love to see how they dealt with that.
I could totally see Anakin sitting in his little lounge while 3PO's having a little oil bath in the background with R2, and he's got both kids on his lap, the twins, in their white robes, and they're both flying little T-16 Skyhoppers in their hands. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, but Anakin happy, it doesn't seem to go together, does it? Like, he was just never happy. He was never allowed to be happy.
He wasn't allowed, but when he was with Padme, he was. Especially on Naboo.
Well, do you think he was happy, or was he just... Did he feel...
Infatuated?
Well, he was always infatuated, but...
He was in love. He was in love. Like, dude, like... Of course he was happy in those moments. It's not like he was putting on a show, like...
Well, like, happy as in, like, there's nothing to worry about. Like, he always had something to worry about.
Yes, but that's... In the whole series, you're completely right, but that's the one time in the entire saga where he has a moment to, like, kind of have a bit of a vacation with her, you know? Like, let go, like, surf some kind of animal and fall and play dead, and even though it's super lame, like, that's what it's trying to indicate to you, that Anakin's finally letting go of his Jedi ways and falling in love, you know?
Yeah, well, he was he's falling in love and following his emotions, but at the same time, he's making things a lot harder on himself.
Yeah, he let go. He was having a little too much fun for a Jedi.
Yep. That he did, and he paid for it. All right, Corey, I think we got through a show in under 2 hours. That's the first time, I think, since, oh boy, July?
Yeah. I'm tired, but Kyle's more tired, and he warned me before the show. He's like, I swear to God, if we go over 2 hours, you're done.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. All right, well, that's it. We had another question from James, which I think maybe we might shuffle over to Sith Disturbers, because Corey didn't do his homework, and it's
a toughie.
It's a bit tough, but it's also bedtime. Enough's enough. I want to go to bed.
Yep.
All right. So with all that being said, our thanks to Ads, Bradley, Rob and Carlos, Dave, Katie, and of course Jeffrey.
Woo! Full house.
That is a full house for sure. Much appreciated, guys. Bring more heat next week. We'll do it again.
Yep.
So what do we got going this week? I don't know if it's gonna be quite as busy this week, but we've got the Bridger transmissions on Wednesday, and Powerful Friends are going to get Sith Disturbers on Friday for Powerful Friends Friday.
Woo woo!
Yeah, and if you want to be a Powerful Friend, Corey, where do people go? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Coupling Saber, blah blah blah.
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, like...
Patreon.com/tumblingsaber. There you go. $2 to $3 a month gets you access to the exclusive Sith Disturbers podcast and early access to Journals of the Willing, Worthy of Recognition, and Saber Rattling. Also, newsletters, giveaways, the whole shebang, man.
Yeah, we got toys.
We got toys.
We got lots of toys.
Some would say too many. So, but if being a member, and don't forget, for people who are on the fence thinking about, do I want to give these two guys $2 to $3 a month? I mean, they're kind of idiots, right? But I kind of like them. But for those $2 to $3 a month, if you sign up to be a powerful friend between now and episode 100, you'll be entered into a draw for the new recruits, a prize pack, which we might describe in a bit more detail coming up. But again, if being a powerful friend is not in the cards for you, then just leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called, or refer a friend. Say, hey, these guys actually have a pretty good show. They're idiots, but they have a pretty good show. That would also really help. And that's about it, Corey.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so where can people find you on Twitter?
On Twitter, okay, listen very well. You can find me at Chop Rules with a Z.
All right. And I'm at Tumbling Saber on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Come check us out. And don't forget, if you're looking for some great podcast content, look no further than StarWarsCommonwealth.com, where you'll find these Talk Star Wars podcast, Generation X-Wing, the Skyhoppers, the Rogue Squadron podcast, San Diego Sabers, and our friends at the Nerd Room. So that's it for this week. Stay tuned for Bridger transmissions coming in a couple days. And I can't wait to get Carlos back on the line and put together another episode of Sith Disturbers, man. That's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and for the rest of you, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, come say hi. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you later.
Self-redeeming qualities, have they hindered me? Hindering, was I blind to see that you needed me? All of me, well, you were there for me. I will be there too, watching, listening, every moment, wanting all of you. And I believe I can save you. Just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. Just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you. I'm watching you walking away from